Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with If I Could Choose Only One Work by Composer X, it would have to be Work W. Well, why not? Composer X is Alexander ZEMLINSKY, and the work is the Lyric Symphony. I love the Lyric Symphony, and so should you, if you don't know it. First of all, who was ZEMLINSKY? Well, ZEMLINSKY was a contemporary of Mahler and Schoenberg and Berg and all of those people. He did not follow Schoenberg into the wilderness of atonality. He remained faithful up to a point, to tonal processes, and he wrote masterworks. He was a fantastically gifted composer, not a tunesmith, to be fair, but really a very, very, very powerful musical voice. And there's a very funny. Remember Ken Russell's movie Mahler? That bizarre, strange, ridiculous movie. It was awful. Well, there was this wonderful scene where Alma is, she writes songs, and the soprano, I think it's Anna Bar Mildenberg or one of those people, is playing one of them and looks at her and says, "Don't you think it sounds a little bit too much like ZEMLINSKY?" Well, that's an interesting question. Actually, Alma was ZEMLINSKY's composition student. She also considered having an affair with him and sleeping with him, because she considered having an affair and sleeping with everybody, of course. But she did not, in fact, wind up with ZEMLINSKY. ZEMLINSKY actually, I think, either married Schoenberg's sister or Schoenberg married his sister. I don't remember the details, and I don't care. Please don't tell me what they are. I really am not interested. But he wrote some amazing pieces, including the opera Der Zwerg and his second string quartet, which made a big splash when it was recorded finally by Deutsche Grammophon, and by the LaSalle Quartet. I believe they did all the ZEMLINSKY quartets. Really kind of remarkable stuff. But the problem, as Anna Bar Mildenberg pointed out, was that he's a very difficult composer to pigeonhole. His style evolved from a typically conservative Brahms/Dvorak kind of beginning to a very, very sophisticated, highly chromatic, sort of attenuated tonal finale. Like so many composers of the day, he wound up fleeing Europe, when Hitler came to power and whatnot, and spent the rest of his life, I believe, in Larchmont, New York, where he finally passed away working on his last opera. He wrote operas like Berg and those people. He wrote lots of operas. Like I mentioned, Der Zwerg, a Florentine tragedy is lots of fun. There's some really good stuff in those pieces too. But the Lyric Symphony is special. It is a sequel to Mahler's Das Lied von der Erde. In other words, it's a symphony of songs for two soloists, a baritone and a soprano, and the poetry is Rabindranath Tagore. It's like, Mahler's was, Chinese stuff. Well, it's Asian, it's Orientalist. It reflects exoticism and also a certain, what was thought of in the day as an Oriental fatalism. The opening song is, I am tired, I'm yearning for far-off things. It's all very philosophical and vaporous. It does have some terrific, terrific ideas in it. It's fabulously well scored, lusciously scored. And Berg took a theme from it and used it in his lyric suite for string quartet, later for string orchestra. That's where that little name comes from. And so it's a really powerful and fun piece of music. It lasts about 45 minutes. It's been recorded about 6 or 7 times by now, maybe even more. And the opening is really powerful. It's a big timpani roll. It's wah, da, 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 wah, da, 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 da. Yeah, anyway, it's fantastic. And it really points up his gifts as a composer, which is why I think it should be used to represent him to the evil god Cankresans, who wants to destroy all of classical music but for one work per composer. By the way, you may have noticed that he seems to be weakening. As we go on with this, he's beginning to realize, that evil schmuck, that there is so much wonderful music out there. And ZEMLINSKY is one of those composers who, if you're interested in his works, you really can't just take one, because there's a huge stylistic range. The Lyric Symphony falls squarely in the middle of his output. Some of his later pieces, such as his Sinfonietta and other things, are even more refined and almost pointillist in their orchestral writing. And you just can't take one and say, forget about the rest. This one, the Lyric Symphony, is more than enough to suggest what a talent he was and how much there is yet to experience if you want to take the plunge, or if Cankresans wants to take the plunge and check out some of his other works, which are certainly deserving of attention from all music lovers. Really, it's special stuff. He's a connoisseur's composer, not an easy composer, but a very, very, very good one. I mean that in all seriousness. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks so much for joining me. Take care.